What was that? You had a good thing going with these things, and you messed it up. You messed it up, Marvel. You done goofed. How could you, I mean, it's just, gotcha. So, we just got done seeing Thor, The Dark World, the newest movie by Marvel Studios. I really liked it.
I could care less.
It's because you never even finished the original Thor.
Okay, I fell asleep. It wasn't that interesting. Hi there. My name's Jacob.
I'm Robert, and if you couldn't tell from my shirt, I'm sort of a Thor fanboy.
If you couldn't tell from my shirt, I'm wearing a shirt.
Now,
Oh.
the original Thor was my favorite of the Marvel movies. This one surpasses it. I like this one better in every single capacity. The story was better, the characters were better, there was funnier jokes, although the jokes in the first one were pretty funny and good on their own right. Just this one, where the first one succeeded, this one surpassed it.
Is this a spoiler-free thing?
No, we're going into spoilers, but I'll announce when we get to that. This is just a spoiler-free what I thought of it and what you thought of it. So don't have any spoilers until after I say spoilers, okay?
Okay, I'll try to keep my mouth shut.
So, yeah. Basic plot is that there's these dark elves. They were thought to be destroyed. They come back.
Yeah, ether, whatever.
They come back and try to destroy the universe so that it gets returned to darkness, and Thor has to stop them.
Oh.
That's the basic plot.
I almost thought that the name of the movie was Thor Into Darkness, but that was the Star Trek one.
We'll get to Star Trek later. Anyways, now, like I said, I really love the movie, and just be warned, without spoiling anything, you want to stay till after the credits. Even though there's one in the middle, there's another scene after the credits, okay? Not telling you what it's about.
It's about cereal.
Shut it.
It's about cereal.
There's a scene after the credits and in the middle of the credits. The middle of the credits scene sets up a future film, and the after credits scene
It's pointless.
It's basically what they've been doing with the event. It's basically like the Avengers, where the middle credits scene sets up plot, and the after credits scene is just there because Marvel always does after credits scenes. Anyways, now we are going to be getting into spoilers, so that was our opinions of it.
I thought about the movie.
You didn't care for it. That's all they needed to know, because you can't.
Well, I mean, it was just like in the commercials. I saw a lot of punch, 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 fight, fight, fight. And then I go to see the movie, and then for the first hour and a half, it was just like, oh, plot, plot, plot. Then for the last 30 minutes, oh, action movie. And I just wish that there was a little more action movie.
Okay, we're going to be getting into spoilers, starting with, what do you mean all the action was only in the last 30 minutes?
Okay, there was a little at the beginning.
There was the backstory, which was an action scene. Let's see, after that there was...
Wait, you said that we could do spoilers, right?
I said we're starting with spoilers now. This is now the part of the video where, okay, if you don't... That's our opinions of the thing. If you haven't seen it yet, which it's been out a week when we recorded this, so, yeah.
Leave now if you don't want to see the spoilers.
Spoilers.
We'll give you about 10 seconds.
Anyways, like I said at the beginning...
10 seconds!
This isn't spoilers if it's talking about the beginning. At the beginning there was an action scene. Then we cut to present day, and
You can't even remember the movie.
no, I'm trying to think, because present day, it cuts after the opening scene. It cuts to the Loki being sentenced to the dungeon.
Prison.
Loki being sentenced to the dungeon by Odin. But I want to mention something at the beginning, because I thought this was really funny. Like, they said the ether, the mystical MacGuffin that will destroy the entire
MacGuffin?
universe.
McMuffin.
MacGuffin, that's what they're called. It's a mystical object that's the entire source of the quest that the hero has to go on.
Well, I'm gonna call it a McMuffin.
Okay, but then everybody online's gonna know you're an idiot. So, anyways, the ether, Odin's narration, because like the first film, Odin narrates it for the first part of it.
That was Odin?
Yes.
Oh.
Anyways, Odin was narrating and he's like, the ether was hidden in a place where nobody would ever find it.
And then she just finds it.
No, that's not what I was saying was so funny.
Oh.
What's funny is in the ether was hidden where no one would ever find it. And then it shows the ether, and then it zooms out, and it turns into the Thor logo. I'm just like, exactly! Hide it in the logo, they'll never find it there! It's perfect!
That was the most stupid thing I've heard all month. But yeah, as he was saying, like, the ether's just in this place where no one should find it. This Thor, Jane Foster person, she just walks up and magically slips into an alternate universe, and guess what she stumbles upon? The ether.
Okay, there's a plot reason for that, because the convergence is happening, and the convergence is where all the 9 realms are getting in line together, so when
one abandoned building is lined up with the freaking underground mysticalness of Asgard.
And Jane, Darcy, and Darcy's intern Ian go to this abandoned place because Selvig contacted them, telling them to meet him in London.
Selvig was naked.
It didn't show anything because it was on TV naked, so it was all censored.
But he was naked nonetheless.
Having a god brainwash you usually leaves you crazy.
And naked? Well then, they're in London.
You're just jumping all around the place. Let me try to give the plot in the most cohesive way possible.
Okay?
Okay? So, Jane and her crew go to this building that a whole bunch of signals have been coming from, and they find a group of kids, and these kids discovered a cement truck that was floating, and if you push it, it'll just turn, because the gravity isn't really there anymore in the area where the truck is. And they also discover that there's objects, you can drop it through a portal, and it will go and keep falling forever.
And sometimes it'll come back, sometimes it won't.
Because sometimes they went through one portal, and other times they went through another portal. The first portal exited in Midgard, and the other portal exited in the Dark World. I forgot what it's called. It's like Slavardaheim or something.
I don't know.
Even
Thor regarded to it as the Dark World.
All I can think of when I think of that is Slartbardafast.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
And if you're smart, you'll understand that reference.
And I guess I'm not smart.
You'll probably understand this reference. So long and thanks for all the fish. So, yeah. And Jane goes off on her own because she's getting a weird signal, and she gets pulled into the ether area.
Yeah, just like out of nowhere. It's like, hey guys, I'm walking around and I'm in a place that no one should have ever found. Like any mortal could have discovered it.
Not normally. The only reason she discovered it was because the convergence was near and the boundaries between the realms was blurred, and so there were portals that led to other worlds.
Yes, but I mean, the cops were there. You would think that
The cops were there 5 hours later.
Yes, you would think that...
And it looked like they just arrived, considering Darcy wasn't in handcuffs yet.
Yeah, but I mean, you would think that the... What's it called? The cops would go and investigate the building, and one of them would get pulled in, too. Like any mortal could have been taken over.
Well, no, because there was only enough ether for one person, so as soon as Jane sucked it into herself, she really just made that entire area useless.
So no one else discovered it, even though they could have?
Well, the police just arrived and they weren't searching the building yet, and then Thor arrives and takes Jane.
And then Jane explodes, like...
Yeah, because the ether in her is... In her... Whenever...
In her.
The ether in her... Whenever someone tries to hurt her, the ether will explode to protect itself. And like...
So someone tries to touch her and she just explodes like...
It's only if they try to touch her to harm her, because notice she lets Thor touch her, because she knows Thor won't hurt her. And the ether apparently is tapped into her brain, so as long as she knows they won't try to hurt her, they can touch her.
Yeah, I know, I understood that. I was just saying that she exploded.
So, meanwhile, while all this is going on Earth, Thor was, a little while back in the movie, Thor went on a battle in another realm to make peace. It's the stone monster in all the trailers, you know, where he defeats it easily. Which, yeah, I mean, if you read the comics, that's how he defeated his first enemy. And that was his first enemy, so...
It was just an uppercut.
Yeah. And you may be wondering differences between Joshua Dallas and Zachary Levi. They aren't really in the movies all that much. And, you know, I think Joshua Dallas got better lines, but I'm a bigger fan of Zachary Levi than I am of Joshua Dallas. So I like his performance better enough. You don't know what I'm talking about, do you?
I have no clue.
The role of Fandral, or however you pronounce it.
Was he the guy that always had the quirky lines?
He's the blonde guy.
That always had the quirky lines.
Yes, the one played by Chuck. The one who looked like Chuck. That's Zachary Levi. Zachary Levi is Chuck. The blonde guy was Chuck.
The blonde guy that was driving the ship that Loki fell onto and Thor threw him out?
Yes.
Oh my god. Can we go see it again?
He didn't even disguise his voice. It's the same voice. He's using his actual
My
voice.
bad that it's been like 3 years since I've seen Chuck.
Anyways, yeah, like, he's not really in it that much, but he does get some good lines, like, and all that, and...
and all that.
But, yeah, really, it's just that I'm a bigger Zachary Levi fan than Joshua Dallas, because, I mean, I have all the seasons of Chuck. Never really watched Once Upon a Time. I've seen some snippets of some episodes, because my parents watch it.
They don't watch it.
Then why do they record it?
They don't record it.
Then why has it been on TV sometimes? I walk by.
You walk by.
Walk by.
Probably because they weren't paying attention to what channel they were on.
Okay.
Next subject.
Anyways, yeah, so Thor goes there, and there's a subplot that disappears as quickly as it appears, where Odin tries to set up Thor with Sif, because Sif is also an Asgardian, and Jane's gonna die in in less than 100 years. So, you know, that's really not that long in Asgardian time. So
It's the same amount of time, they just live longer.
Yeah.
So why'd you say in Asgardian time? Because it's the same amount of time.
Okay, so 2 weeks is the same amount of time for a fruit fly and a human, but it seems but you go through more as a fruit fly in 2 weeks than you do as a human. That's what I mean by that.
Yeah, but you wouldn't call it fruit fly time.
Yeah, you would.
No.
Yeah,
No.
that's how it works.
No. Anyway.
So,
Then after that,
and Thor goes to talk to Heimdall,
who's Heimdall? Oh yeah, he's
the black guy.
I was gonna say that he was the Guardian. I forgot his name, cause they always call him the Guardian.
They call him Heimdall.
No, they call him the Guardian.
He calls himself the Guardian. They
Yes.
call him Heimdall.
And they call him the Guardian too. And he looks into the stars.
Yes.
And he can see the changing of the rift thingies.
Yes, he can see that.
He can see the worlds.
But unfortunately in this film he can't try to cancel the apocalypse.
He was that guy.
Yes.
Well, there's Pacific Rim 2. The apocalypse was not cancelled. Want to go on a movie review for Pacific Rim real quick?
What's there to say about Pacific Rim that hasn't already been said on the internet?
Robots fight.
That's been said before. That's been said before.
See.
That's been said before. Everything you could say about Pacific Rim has been said before.
Okay. Go
This
on.
is a review of Thor.
Then no
So he
Pacific Rim.
I was making an actor illusion.
Just call it a joke.
I'm trying to get noticed by TV tropes. I'm going to use as many of their terms as I can.
Oh, okay.
So, anyways, Heimdall notices that he can't see Jane anymore, so that's why Thor goes to Earth to rescue Jane.
Yeah, Jane is still in the weird little place
Yeah.
where the ether is. Or was.
I don't know how she got out. Did she roll over in her sleep and found a portal? Because she seemed...
See,
Or
that's
did it just pull her out?
I think that's a plot hole. She was like falling down in the ether and she was just like, yeah, and then she woke up and she was in the real world.
It's not a plot hole. I'm just wondering where the portal was. Because she went through a portal, but I don't know when she went through it and where it was. Did she turn over in her sleep and just accidentally find a portal? Or did a portal just appear there that had dropped her off, that appeared from the ground, like the one with the birds later in the film? Like if she, like it just went through the ground and then it just disappeared, so she landed, so she was in the ground, on the ground.
Maybe she went through the same portal that she came out of.
No, because that was through a different door. She appeared in a different area, so she
did?
went through a different portal. Either that or the same portal
yeah,
changed
she did,
locations. I know it's not really a plot hole because there's an explanation in universe for it. It's not a plot hole. It's just...
Well, it never said that there was a portal there to take her back.
Yeah, but there is portals that can transport you to other universes, so it's not a plot hole. It's just not clearly explained, but it's not a plot hole. We know what happened, we just don't know how.
Okay, fine, move on.
Sort of like something at the end of the
We're
film.
not even halfway through this film.
Yeah, I know.
Can you believe that?
And yeah, can you believe that? Because this film is under 2 hours long. It's surprisingly short for a superhero film of this day and age. Because, I mean, look, you got your Iron Man 3, which is like 131 minutes. You got your Dark Knight Rises, which is over 2.5 hours. And you got Thor 2, which is 111 minutes.
It's over an hour and a half. It's a pretty long movie.
But it's not 2 hours.
It's 8 minutes shy.
9.
And this is why you stay in school.
So Thor brings Jane to Asgard. Jane reacts like a little kid when she goes through the Bifrost.
Oh, we can do that again!
She doesn't sound like that.
It's Natalie Portman.
Yeah. But she doesn't sound like that.
That was an accurate portrayal.
If you were going for Mars Attacks.
Who in Mars Attacks?
What?
Who in Mars Attacks?
The president's daughter.
Natalie Portman?
Yes. I was saying you were doing an accurate representation of her if she was in Mars Attacks.
I don't think I was built for this.
So,
And then
they go to Asgard. Odin wants her to leave because he doesn't want a mortal in Asgard.
and then he says,
then he's-
"Oh, the ether."
But then Jane shows off her powers when the guards try to take her away, and so
She didn't show off her powers. The ether protected itself, and she fell down.
that's showing her powers. That shows what she can do. She didn't
It's
want
not
to do
her
it.
doing it. It's the ether.
Yes,
protecting
but she
itself.
didn't want to do it, but she still showed her powers. Sort of like the Hulk. Most cases, the Hulk doesn't want to get angry, but he still shows his powers.
Yeah, but that's the Hulk. Whenever the Hulk is still Bruce Banner, the ether was protecting itself, not her protecting the ether. The ether was acting all by itself.
You could say that about Aldrich Killian and the Extremis, because the Extremis was a virus. Iron Man 3. Main villain. Aldrich Killian. The Extremis was a virus. It wasn't anything a part of him.
Oh, that was the centipede thing, right?
Centipede is an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. thing that's a mixture of Extremis, the super soldier serum from Captain America, and gamma radiation that created the Hulk, and maybe some Chitauri stuff.
So yeah, we'll go on.
Anyways, Odin tells them the story of how all the Dark Elves were destroyed, and Thor knows this because it's a bedtime story his mom used to tell him.
Hey, Mommy, can I hear a bedtime story? Sure, here's one about the destruction of the Dark Elves.
Yeah? What's so weird about that? It's a fairy tale to them.
But it actually happened. That would be as if the Little Mermaid actually happened.
Yeah, they sort of tell the story like and if they believe the threat didn't exist anymore, so it turned into a fairy tale.
So it was legend, not a fairy tale.
Yes, it was legend.
Asgardian legend.
Yes,
Do you
sort of
remember
like
the lore?
it. Probably over the years it turned into a tall tale, like Pecos Bill or the Paul Bunyan, something like that.
Paul Bunyan. Okay, on we go.
And so, I think that's when Malekith attacks Asgard. Am I right?
Malekith attacks Asgard. Oh yeah, there's some a little. Yeah, Malekith.
Because they're there.
I think they're there, and then
They're
he
there.
says, "Okay, we'll keep her in a safe place," something like that.
We'll keep her there. Jane talks to Frigga, which is Thor's mom.
Yeah. And then Malekith
Malekith attacks.
There's something in between there, but it's not very important.
Thor and Jane kiss, and then Malekith attacks.
Bah. And when Malekith attacks, he has one of those cursed things.
Yeah, the cursed.
The cursed and
He sends one of them to get captured
and
by
Loki and Loki.
He sends one of them to get captured so that he can bring in the thing. Because if he tried to send a cursed in there before, he would have gotten caught. So he sent him in as a normal dark elf with wearing a helmet of a different species, and then he uses. There's like a thing where you crush it, and it
makes
turns
him
you
all
into
fiery.
It turns you into a cursed dark elf.
And he breaks down the door.
Which reminded me a lot of the first Percy Jackson film, because they had to like crush those orbs to get back to the surface after they were in Hades.
Yeah,
but that just could be because I watched Percy Jackson a few days ago.
The cursed one. He was breaking down all the cells, letting all the dark elves.
He wasn't breaking all the cells.
Yeah, not just all the ones with the dark elves, and he was breaking them loose and letting them defeat the guards. And Loki is in one of the cells.
Yeah.
He's in prison, and Loki says, "Go up the staircase to the left," which led him straight into the throne room.
The shield generator.
shield generator. No, he went to the throne
The
room
cursed
first.
went to the shield generator.
No. Oh, yeah.
Malekith went to the throne room.
Huh. Oh yeah, well he went straight to the shield generator and destroyed that.
So that all the dark elves could get in. Heimdall notices one of the ships like there, and then
he knifes it, and
he
it
knifes it
explodes.
and he knifes it down the thing, going like a pirate. Then he gets back on the Rainbow Bridge.
What made me laugh is the first time he knifes it once, and then he lets go with that knife, and there's already this big gaping hole in the ship from where a little bitty knife stabbed it, and then he drags it down, and then it seems a little more realistic. But before, there's this big long streak of fire, and he only did it once.
He must have hit something important in the engineering of
Don't
the
make
ship.
an excuse.
It's not an
There was
excuse.
like a big hole.
It's a logical.
There was a big hole
The
there.
big hole.
He stabbed it once, and there was a big hole there.
The big hole was after he went down with the knife, and then he put the other knife in there.
No, he hit it once, and there was a big flaming.
Yeah, because if you hit something important on a working machine, it's gonna explode.
It didn't explode though. It was just sort of flaming.
That's an explosion.
No, that'd be saying as if I were to take the bed sheets and light them on fire, they would explode because they were on fire. Anyway, we're going on. He falls onto the rainbow bridge of freedom and pride.
And so Malekith goes to the throne room. He destroys the throne room, destroys the throne with these bombs that
turn matter into dark matter.
Yeah.
I know that much. And
so Malekith goes to Odin's main bedroom,
and he finds
Frigga and Jane, and then Frigga gets in a fight with him, and then she holds her own against Malekith,
and he kills her.
No, Malekith doesn't kill her. The Cursed comes in, grabs her, and stabs her, and then that's how Frigga dies, because it turns out that the Jane in the room was an illusion Jane, which was set up earlier because Loki was talking to an illusion of his mom, basically trying to be his conscience, because I'm guessing that she wasn't talking through him, but she might have been, which is confusing. I don't know whether it was Frigga talking through the illusion to Loki, or Loki being his own conscience through his mom.
It was just his mom in the room.
No, because remember...
Yes, I know.
When they went
yes, I know. She was like a hologram thingy, but she can do that. She was just a hologram talking to her son. Don't overcomplicate things.
Oh, was it her who did the illusion? I thought Loki did the illusion, and that he was just talking to himself.
No, it was her, because how else would she have made an illusion of Jane? Because Loki wasn't in there to make the illusion. She can make illusions.
I know she can make illusions. I thought the illusion of her was made by Loki.
No, it was made by her.
Okay, that makes a little more sense, because I was just thinking, because I'm just like, Loki's, as soon as it was revealed that she was fake, I'm just like, so was Loki just talking to himself the whole time?
No.
Being his own conscience?
No. You got that all confused.
But really, that actually makes a little more sense that it's Loki who's creating it, because she sort of gives up on him really easy in that scene.
Well, yeah, he sort of was a really, really bad person.
But she didn't give up later she didn't give up on him in any other part in the film. And that she was alive.
She never talked to him in any other part of the film.
But it seemed like she never really gave up on him, making me think that was Loki.
She talked to him twice in the entire film.
Yeah, but I think Loki has low self-esteem, which is why he got his mom, created an illusion of her, and then...
We'll agree to disagree.
Like, Loki has low self-esteem, so he created the mom, and then the mom gives up on him.
We will agree to disagree.
Anyways, and then... So, yeah, Frigga dies, Thor gets angry, burns half of Malekith's face.
Wait, how does he do... Oh, yeah,
because he has the lightning. He can control lightning, so he used the lightning from the hammer.
Why didn't he do that more?
Because it requires a lot of power. You ever try... static electricity?
God, yes.
You know static electricity? It's basically a whole bunch of static electricity all jumbled
I
up
can
together.
imagine.
Because he has to swing his hammer, create the friction, and then zap.
I can just imagine Thor in his free time rubbing his socks against the carpet, hoping to charge up his hammer for one use.
He creates static electricity in the air by swinging his hammer around. It just takes more than it does to take off. Because you notice, helicopters, when they spin, don't have sparks coming off of their blades.
Yeah.
So it takes less energy to fly than it does to do static electricity.
So you're saying that if I swung my arms really fast, I could create static electricity?
Yeah, but you'd have to do it faster than humanly possible. You're not even good at spinning your arms.
Shut up.
Anyways, so yeah. Frigga dies. They throw a Viking funeral for her and all the warriors that died in that battle. Malekith gets away. They all leave, hoping to find Jane later.
Oh yeah. And then Thor has this big group
And Loki
discussion.
learns the news of his stepmom's death, although he considers her his actual mom. And he gets angry and uses his magic to move all the equipment, all
And
the
then
stuff in his
Thor,
shell.
the Heimdall guy,
Heimdall.
guy, and the Sif and the fat guy.
I can't remember his name. All I know is Fandral, Sif, and Thor, Heimdall, Odin, Frigga, Loki.
But basically, they have this secret group that's gonna commit treason in order to get Jane out of the guarding that she's in, because Asgard is totally
You
defenseless.
forgot the part where Thor talked to Odin.
Yeah, he's saying,
Because
"Oh."
Thor talked to Odin, and Odin's just like, we will wait for them here. Thor tells them that he will destroy all of Asgard. Odin's angry because his wife is dead. So he wants to destroy Malekith, and he will sacrifice every Asgardian to do it. And Thor wants to take Jane to the Dark World so that less people will die. And so
And Thor's like,
and
no.
Thor goes to Heimdall and asks him to help them.
Commit treason.
And then I really like the sequence where they commit treason because it's all interspersed with.
Yeah.
It's Thor talking to the warriors, Sif and the warriors too, because the Asian guy decided to stay on the first world that they were on.
Oh yeah, that Asian guy.
And so it's Sif and the warriors too, Fandral and the other one who I can't remember his name, but yeah, they're talking about how the plan is never going to work, and then it shows the plan in action going on, like Thor getting Loki out.
But you'll never make it. But you'll never get out of the palace. That's why we don't go on foot.
You'll never make one step out of the palace. That's why we don't go on foot.
And then they take the big spaceship and they go vroom vroom vroom, and Loki says,
You forgot the best moment in the movie.
Oh yeah, Loki is turning into Captain America.
So Thor and Loki are walking through a hallway, and that's not even what I was going to say. That's not even my favorite moment. My favorite moment's before that. So Thor and Loki are walking down a hallway, and Thor and Loki are next to each other,
yeah.
and
Thor turns
and Loki's creating an illusion, like he turns into a guard, an Asgardian guard, and then he decides that he doesn't like that look, so he switches back to himself and decides to change Thor into Sif. But unlike Loki, who changes his voice when he thinks, it's still Thor's voice. So it's Thor's voice coming out of Sif's body, whereas when Loki changes, his voice changes. And so then they walk by, and then Loki turns into Captain America and starts acting like all super patriotic and American stuff.
God bless America.
Yeah. And then Thor puts Loki in a
Handcuffs.
Yeah, handcuffs. And they start leaving. And Sif goes to get Jane. And this plot is actually really, really detailed, which you didn't like apparently.
Not really.
So I really liked it because I'm more of a story and character guy than an action guy.
I like story and character, but when I go to see an action movie, I like to see an action movie.
So you must hate Transformers 3 then.
Transformers 3 wasn't even really that good. That was the one after Optimus Prime dies, right? Then he comes back.
That's the second one.
Yeah, I know. I said it's the one after that one.
Yeah, it's
That's the one with the weird little robot voiced by Tom Kenny, right?
That's the second one.
No, that's...
The Tom Kenny robot's in the second one. That's where he has the main role. He's only in like 3 lines in the third one.
Isn't the third one where he's at college?
No, that's the second one.
Wow, what's the third one then?
The third one's the one where he has the job, and
yeah, like the CIA, the CIA, yeah.
That's the first one, second one, and third one.
Yeah, but he's working at the CIA in the third one.
No, in the third one he's working at an office building.
What happens? Describe.
Okay, so the first half, Sam, it's the one with the British girl.
Yeah, and it has the Tom Kenny robot in like a kitchen or something.
He's only in 3 lines.
Yes, but he's there.
He's not in the kitchen. He's sitting on a couch watching Star Trek.
I don't think I've seen that movie.
It's my favorite of the Transformers trilogy.
You know what? You have bad taste.
Which is a real surprise considering Anthony Anderson is usually a winner for Best Film in a Trilogy for me. Or Best Film in a Series for me. Which is why I love the first Kangaroo Jack more than the second one, even though the second one's technically a better movie.
There was a second Kangaroo Jack?
Yeah, it was animated.
Oh. Is that the one Good Day?
Good Day USA.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing that at Movie Gallery. Anybody remember that place? Dinosaurs go there.
Dinosaurs grow there?
The other day I went to a movie gallery and I saw a dinosaur coming out of the ground. It was very creepy.
There's no movie galleries anywhere near us.
That's why I said dinosaurs go there. They're both extinct.
So, anyways, back to Thor. Thor and Loki get in the spaceship and they drive out
and they break a bunch of columns.
Odin wants to stop them at any cost, and so they're flying through. Loki tells them how stupid a plan it is to get in the spaceship.
And he throws him out.
Yeah, Thor pushes him out of the ship, and Loki falls. And then Thor grabs Jane, and they jump out.
And then they land
in a
ship.
And they land in a canal boat.
No, it's a ship.
It's a canal boat. That's a spaceship. Driven by Fandral.
Driven by Zachary Levi. Zachary Levi.
And it's revealed that this was Thor's plan all along, and the Asgardians all go chasing after the spaceship.
Except for one.
Well, yeah, and then one discovers the ship and then goes after the ship.
And Zachary Levi jumps on like, nope, punch, punch, boom, boom, and he takes control.
Yes. And then Thor, Loki, and Jane go to the Dark World through a secret portal.
If it was easy, everyone would do it, and they scrape the sides, and then boom, they're there.
Ta-da!
Yay!
Loki actually does say ta-da!
Yay! Except without the yay.
Yeah, nobody goes yay.
They should, though.
Everybody laughed in the theater when he said that, because it's just all on the Dark World, and then ta-da! And everybody laughed. And everybody really laughed at the Captain America part. Like, just as soon as he appeared, he didn't have to say anything. He just appeared and everyone started laughing.
Well, yeah, because Captain America and Thor are so crazy, right?
Yeah.
Whoa, your head is so small.
It's because I'm farther away than you.
Oh.
So, anyways, after that, Jane's unconscious. Thor and Loki fight a little. Because Thor doesn't trust Loki. Loki's angry at Thor. Thor tells him that their mom wouldn't want them to fight.
And then Loki's like, but it wouldn't be unusual. And then they smile.
But it wouldn't surprise her. Or something like that.
Yeah, something like that, you know.
And I think during this time, we cut back to Earth. Like, every so often, we'd cut back to Earth to be with Darcy and Ian.
Kat Dennings.
Yeah, the broke girl, as everyone calls her.
The broke girl from that really bad show.
Yeah, the broke girl from that one show, How I Met Your Mother.
Yep.
And,
I
yeah.
bet that she's the mother.
No, they already showed the mother, and it's not her.
Yeah, no. The mother talked to Barney.
Yeah, the mother talked to, Lily.
When?
Was that the first episode of the season?
I didn't watch the first episode of the season.
Because, like, the mother talked to Lily because Lily was mad at Ted because Ted wanted to make some stops on the road trip at these places that nobody but Ted would like. And then it's revealed that the mother likes those exact same places.
So silly, so wacky.
Yeah. And you want to know
What
what's
was
funny?
that?
The girl who plays the mother,
Yeah.
her most famous role is known as the girl from the musical Once. It was a Broadway play.
Mm-hmm.
So she's famous for having roles with no name. Although if they do reveal a name for her, then she'll be different.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's saying how their kids' names are Luke and Leia.
Their kids' names are not Luke and Leia.
Ted's a huge fan of Star Wars, and I'm guessing the mother is probably another huge fan of Star Wars. Their kids are going to be named Luke and Leia.
They will not be named Luke and Leia.
I'm thinking they're going to be named Luke and Leia.
Padme and Anakin.
Well, there's one thing that Thor has going for better than Anakin.
What? Oops, I
At
was going to
least-
point to your face.
At least Thor can stand the sand.
I don't get it.
Star Wars Episode 2.
I don't remember that one.
That's the one with teenage Anakin.
Yes, I know. I had teenage Anakin. There was a love scene and Jango Fett.
Yeah, so... Anyways, back to Thor. So yeah, they cut back to Kat Dennings and Ian. And
Yeah, I made you call her Kat Dennings.
Kat Dennings sounds a lot better than calling her Darcy, because every time I think of Darcy, all I
I think
can
of
think
a
of
farm girl.
You remember that show?
What show?
Darcy's Wild Life? Or something like that, where the girl can talk to animals or something? I don't remember what that show... Or she was just like a farm girl, and she did a thing, I don't know.
Oh, Darcy is just a natural farm girl name. My name's Darcy.
There was a show on that aired on Discovery Kids in reruns or something, because I remember watching
Well,
Strange
maybe
Days...
it's a subconscious, like...
I remember watching it. I remember watching Strange Days at Playfully High, a show that I wish I could find on DVD, but I don't think they ever released any. Although I think I can find episodes on YouTube.
Okay, we gotta go on. I'm about to leave.
Anyways, so Kat Dennings tries to find Eric Selvig, and she's looking for Selvig, and
He's naked.
yeah, he's naked in Stonehenge. And, so it cuts back. Jane wakes up from her coma.
She was in a coma?
The ether got too powerful for her, so she fell asleep.
Well, yeah, but it's not a coma. She just fell asleep.
I know, but it's just better if it says she came out of her coma.
Okay, and then...
And then Thor and Loki are standing there like they're gonna go and confront Malekith.
And
then
Thor,
it looks
I mean,
like...
Thor
And then Loki stabs Thor with a knife and
Thor
throws...
unhandcuffs him because he
Yeah,
was handcuffed,
Thor-
and then he said, "You wish you hadn't done that." Stabs him and then throws him off. the
Thor
cliff.
says, like Loki says, "What, brother? Don't you trust me?" And then Thor says, "Would you?" And then he unhandcuffs Loki, and then Loki says, "No, I wouldn't." And then he stabs Thor. Thor falls down. Loki goes down after him. He fights for Thor. Thor grabs for his hammer. Loki cuts off his arm. And then confronts Malekith, and Malekith captures Jane and removes the ether from Jane to take it for his own.
And Thor zaps
And Thor tells Loki to get it now, and so he undoes the illusion. Thor has his hand. He uses the hammer. He snaps all the ether and with lightning, and it explodes.
Do you think you could destroy the ether so easily?
Christopher Eccleston does not sound like that.
That's my impression for every person. Samuel L. Jackson in Pulp Fiction.
Give me a line. Have you ever seen Pulp Fiction?
I've seen parts of it, but not all of it. Have you ever seen Pulp Fiction?
No, because I'm not a fan of Tarantino.
How dare you?
I'm sorry, I just don't like hyper, ultra, gory, bloody action films.
So hysterical, though.
I know they're probably funny and I'd like them if I watch them, but it's just too hyped up for me. I'm probably going to be hyped backlash like I had with The Avengers, because everyone said, The Avengers is the greatest superhero film ever. I watch it, and it's average. It gets better with repeat viewings, but when I first saw it, it was average.
You know what gets better with repeat viewings?
What?
The Lord of the Rings.
You'll be dead by the time you watch it the third time.
Oh, Gollum's voice. Let's Gollum do it.
That's Neville Longbottom from Puppet Pals.
Grandmother says that I'm a wizard, Harry. Grandmother says not to say those bad words, Harry.
Neville self-destruct.
Neville self-destruct. So guys, I'm sorry, but I gotta leave because I'm going to be Neville Longbottom.
You're staying here until we get to the end of the movie.
Neville sad.
So anyways, after that, Thor stops Malekith, tries to stop Malekith from leaving.
But he just leaves anyway.
And Malekith leaves, but Thor is facing off against the Cursed.
And then Loki is
so
facing
Thor's
off
fighting in there, and Loki is fighting off against a whole bunch of dark elves. And Loki holds his own against them, but sees Thor fighting Cursed, which deflects his hammer. Whenever he tries to call it to him, it just deflects it and sends it to another place. So Loki goes and he stabs the Cursed, and then the Cursed has this thing sticking right through him, and then he goes and grabs Loki and pulls him onto the chest, sort of like probably what Shinzon was trying to do at the end of Nemesis, but a little more successful than that.
Ooh, or like in Firefly, whenever the guy falls onto his own sword, except imagine Loki being pulled into that sword.
What do you mean when he falls on his own sword? Nobody falls on their own sword in Firefly.
Well, it's not the Serenity. Serenity.
That's not his own sword. That was
but it's not.
That was a Reaver arrow that pierced through Wash.
No, not through Wash at the beginning of the movie. The random guy. Looking at the thing, and the guy's like,
the operative, like, paralyzes him and then places his sword there and then paralyzes him so he falls.
Yeah, imagine that, except Loki is the one getting stabbed and the floor is...
Imagine Coulson. Imagine Coulson's death, just because that's what happens to the Cursed. Now imagine if Coulson pulled Loki onto it. That would be Loki's death scene in this movie.
Loki isn't actually dead.
Which I called. I called it. Because I knew.
I also called that Thor would say like I am or something like that.
Yeah, okay. Things in this movie that I called. I called that it would not be Jane that Thor cried no about. Because in the trailer he's all like, no! And it's a little different shot, but it's Loki he cries out no for rather than Jane. Another thing I called. Thor would end the movie on Earth. I called that.
Hey, but he never kissed her with his ponytail.
Yeah, that's because that's a scene they shot, and then they had reshoots later after that trailer was released. Probably because some YouTube comments were all like, "Hey, that shot looks like it'd be the end of the movie."
Like you.
Yes, I left a YouTube comment almost exactly like that.
And it wasn't the end of the movie.
It was probably the end of the movie before they changed it.
They probably didn't change it at all.
That shot was probably at the after credits scene.
No, probably wasn't.
Because people got angry that the fact that Tony Stark's heart surgery was in the trailer for Iron Man 3, so they probably changed Thor 2 because they didn't want people complaining about how the ending of Thor 2 was in the trailer again. So anyways, where we were in the movie, Loki's dead, and so Thor and Jane head off to a cave during a dirt sandstorm.
Oh yeah, and she gets a call from the guy that she was on a date with. She was on a date with.
Yeah,
this
at the
guy.
beginning, when we first see Jane, she's on a date with a guy, and Darcy comes in and interrupts their date, and then that's when Jane goes off with Darcy to the building and stuff. And when at the building, Jane gets a call, and she doesn't know how to change her ringtone, so it's this Exhibit song. So, and then they're in the cave, and they're having a moment, and then Jane gets a call on her phone, despite the fact that they're in the dark world, which reveals to Jane that they're near a point where the portal that they were messing with at the beginning of the film exits out at, which is where their car keys were, because Ian threw their car keys in the portal, and it sent it through there, and it never came back.
And she was like, "Are those the car keys?" And he was like,
So yeah, I'm thinking there were like 3 different portals in that one area.
"Why are there so many shoes?"
Yeah. Although, and so Thor is back on Earth, and he goes to wherever Jane takes him, to where Selvig, Darcy, and Ian are, and Selvig was at earlier. Selvig was in a mental institution, which is where you get your obligatory Stan Lee cameo.
Wait, oh yeah, Stanley was there.
Yeah, he was the guy who said, "Can I have my shoe back?"
Can I have my shoe back?
Stan Lee sounds nothing like that.
Stanley, I have like 3 voices.
Yeah, you have 3 voices, and I have 5.
Okay, do your voices then.
So anyway, during the next part of the movie, Thor,
Next voice.
Jane, and Selvig try to find out how to solve the mystery
Next voice.
of where the convergence will meet up at, since Midgard is the middle realm. So
Next voice.
you know that it has to be there.
Is this
And
Bill
where did
Cosby?
It's Christopher Walken. You see?
No, I don't see it. It's Bill Cosby. Next voice.
No, Bill Cosby is more of a ho ho ho. I'm Bill Cosby.
No, Bill Cosby is more of a chocolatey whatever.
Well, that sounds more like Bill Cosby than this, but like I said, I only have 5 voices. I'm not good.
What's
at
the
impressions.
other voice?
This one. This is my voice. 5 voices. All of them me.
Okay, here's my voices, and
they find, because
Monster.
although I did like this because there's 9 realms. Midgard is the middle realm. When you look at it from the top, you can only see 4 other realms, because the other 4 realms are below Midgard.
Oh, boy.
So there's the 4 realms above Midgard.
Uh-huh.
There's the 4 realms below Midgard, which you never really see, and then there's Midgard. Which I like that. They only showed you 4 instead of showing you 8, making you wonder why Midgard's called Midgard if all 8 of them are above Midgard. There's only 4 above, 4 below, and Midgard's the 9th one. All 9 realms. And anyways, they realized that the center of the entire universe is like 15 minutes from
Greenwich.
the apartment.
It's Greenwich.
Yeah, Greenwich, which spelled like Greenwich if you're an American.
Green sandwich, green eggs and wham. Wait. Green
Wham. Yeah, green eggs and wham. I would love that book. It'd just be like, I will not eat them, Sam. I am last Christmas. I gave you my heart, but the very next day you gave it away.
No, it would be. I will not eat those green eggs and. I will not eat those green eggs and ham. I will not eat them, Sam. Wham! He's dead.
I was making a music joke.
And I was making a dead joke.
So anyways, the final battle happens. Malekith arrives in Greenwich, And the final battle is to travel through a whole bunch of portals to a whole bunch of different realms. Like they go to the Dark World, they go to Earth, they go to Jotunheim.
Oh, and the
and
fighter
that's basically
jets.
all that they.
The fighter jets go to that one place.
And the fighter jets go to the world that they were originally at the beginning of the film, where Thor fought the rock monster. And then they come back because they're shown at the end, and they go to Jotunheim, which is the ice world.
Oh yeah, they
The ice
go
world's
to Loki's
Jotunheim.
place.
Yeah, they go to Jotunheim, and basically the monster that was chasing Thor at the beginning of at the fight that gets him banished in the first one, is basically there, and then they all fall because the monster breaks the ice, and then they all fall through a portal, end up back on Earth.
Oh, and yeah, at the ending of the movie.
Shh. We're not there yet.
But it's chasing birds.
Yeah, the monster's still there after all the portals have closed. So unless Heimdall wants to transport the monster to there and then transport it back to Jotunheim, it's probably going to be on Earth for a while, which, now that I think about it, that may be what the...
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, that might be what it's tying into, although I don't know what the staff that turns him into a Viking has to do with that. Plus the fact that it's on a TV show budget, that might make it look sort of weird, unless it's just a throwaway line towards the end of the episode, like the stinger of the episode is it in captivity, and...
I am a beast in captivity.
So Jane uses these devices that normally measure the phase shifts. Although when they said like phases, I was just all like, are they gonna make a joke about how they're in phase 2 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Because I'm just like, phase shifting. And it's like, are they gonna say they're in phase 2? But I don't think they said what phase they were in. It would have been funny if they said they were in phase 2.
I think I broke it.
Well, good thing that's not our camera then.
Wait, this is the night.
So, yeah. The final battle, they're transporting all over the place. And then...
He kills... No, he doesn't... Thor doesn't directly kill the guy. Thor throws some staffs into him that make him teleport to the Dark World. Then the ship's about to fall on Thor.
We're not there yet.
The ship
We're
falls
still
on
in the
guy.
final battle.
Yeah, that is final battle.
No, you missed the part where they're transporting all over the place, and Malekith transports back to Greenwich, and goes to uses the ether to create an ether cloud, and Thor transports to somewhere in the London Underground, and has to ride a train to get back to Greenwich.
Oh yeah, and the woman falls on him and is like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's not how it happened at all.
Yeah, it is. She fell on him on purpose. You know she did.
The train lurched forward.
And nobody else moved, and she was just like...
Because she wasn't really
I'm
holding
so
on to
sorry.
it. Because she's
You know
sort of
that-
surprised.
You know that she
She's
just...
sort of surprised that Thor,
You know she just...
the
has a
god of
crystal.
thunder, was on a train next to her.
And I'm sort of surprised that you like this movie. Just kidding, I know that you would like this movie.
So, anyways, then Malekith uses the ether cloud to start the destruction of the universe. He starts the destruction of the universe, and then Thor goes, he has the things that were in the ground to create portals to transport in.
And he just throws them in the Malekith, and then
No, he goes in, because this is the line you call it, because it's like, you aren't strong enough to go in, and Jane's just like, we're not strong enough to get any closer, and Thor's just like, I am, and then he runs into the...
Oh yeah!
And then he runs into the ether cloud, and he throws that...
He throws it like a spear.
He
and
throws it like a
pierces him.
spear into Malekith's arm, and then Jane activates it, and it teleports his arm into the Dark World.
Yeah, and then he does it to the other arm.
And then he goes and Malekith tells him how the ether can't be defeated, but Thor says that Malekith can, so he pulls his hammer, because his hammer, he's been trying to summon his hammer the whole time.
His hammer
he
is
keeps
just
teleporting.
confused.
He keeps teleporting, so it's like on Earth, heading to the Dark World, and then he comes back to Earth, and so it starts heading for Earth, and then right before he can grab it, he teleports again, so it has to move, and it's going all over the place. and then he finally gets his hammer. He lightning shocks Malekith, and then he throws the last spear through his heart, and then teleports him to the Dark World. And then the ship falls apart because Malekith isn't there, and apparently if Malekith isn't there, then the ship just starts destroying itself. So then he crashes, and then it looks like it's gonna fall on Thor, who looks like he's dead. So Jane goes out there and tries to cover him, and then the ship falls. But then a portal opens up, and then it falls into the Dark World and falls on Malekith. And Thor's alive because, nobody really thought he'd be dead. He was just unconscious. And then...
Can't kill off the main character now, can you?
And then...
Go back to one floor with the cuckoo's nest. Wait. And then after that, basically...
And then, so after that, like...
Jane is sitting at a...
Thor and Jane...
No, they don't really do anything.
Thor and Jane just lay there. Darcy and Ian make out because Ian saved her because one of the cars was floating, and so Ian smashes some dark elves with it.
And she was like, "Oh, you saved me," and then teleported.
They start making out. They start making out, and then they get teleported.
And they're like,
and then it's 2 days later, and they're just eating breakfast, and
it involves cereal.
This isn't the final scene. But this is still before the credits.
But it still involves cereal.
And so they're just eating, and Jane just says, and then they just start talking about how Thor left. Like, they don't even show the goodbye. Like, it's just Thor left, which I thought was actually pretty cool.
Can I be done for you to close off this video?
No, we're not. Once we finish all the stuff, then you can leave, okay?
Okay, fine.
So, wow, that's cool. Anyways,
what's cool? It's been an hour.
I know.
I want to leave.
We're almost done with this movie.
I've been sitting here for like an hour saying "Once upon a time, once upon a time."
Once Upon a Time is involved with it. That's the reason Joshua Dallas couldn't be in this film, was Once Upon a Time.
Dang it, Robert, I wasn't actually talking about Once Upon a Time.
Which is funny because the reason Zachary Levi wasn't involved in the first one was because of Chuck, and you're not done. We still have to finish it.
God.
So Jane talks to Selvig and Darcy and Ian about how Thor's gone, and Thor talks to Odin about how Thor can't be king, and then Odin tells him to go after Jane, and then it's revealed that Odin is Loki. And then end the movie. Credits happen, and then mid-credit scene is
the fat guy and Sif.
Sif and the other
fat guy. The fat guy.
And they're talking to the Collector about how you can't have more than one Infinity Stone close to each other.
And so...
The Infinity Stones, if you don't know, are this mystical
weapon
of power in the Marvel Universe.
The elixir is not a stone, it's sort of liquid, which confused me.
What are you talking about?
The elixir is a liquid and not a stone.
That wasn't the ether, was it? I thought that was the Infinity Gauntlet. Or was the Infinity Gauntlet still in Asgard? I don't know what the Infinity Gauntlet looks like in the movie series, but apparently people have recognized it, but I never was able to see it because apparently it was in Asgard in the first movie.
They gave him a box with the red stuff in it. The elixir was red the entire movie.
The ether?
Whatever. I'm done.
The ether was red. Yeah,
let's hurry up and get to the end of this.
But the thing is, like, there's something called the Infinity Gauntlet that's apparently been in Asgard the whole time, but I don't know what it looks like in the universe, so...
After they give it to the guy, he says, 1 down, 6 to go. And
one down, 5 to go.
1 down, 5 to go, and then after that, they cut to the cereal scene.
After credit scene is...
Cereal.
Yeah, like, Jane's eating all alone. Bifrost happens, Thor appears, Jane and Thor kiss, and the Jotunheim monster is chasing birds.
And then it says Thor will return. Bye, I'm done.
Yeah, it says Thor will return. Which, it doesn't say in Avengers 2, because at the end of Iron Man 3 it said Tony Stark will return in Avengers 2, meaning that Thor either has a cameo in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Captain America the Winter Soldier, or Guardians of the Galaxy, because they didn't state which movie he was in. So, yeah. I really recommend seeing the movie. doesn't care. So now he doesn't get to state his opinion because his main complaint is that there's too much story in this movie. And he doesn't get to back up his opinions now. So basically, his whole thing is that it's marketed as an action movie. There needs to be more action, and that there's too much story. Whereas I fall on the side of if it has a sufficient amount of action, because it never drags. It doesn't have any scenes that drag. It just has a lot of character moments, which I really like, because if you watch my DeweyFin21 channel, I review Power Rangers shows. My favorite episodes are always the ones that are character driven. The just become the Rangers to fight episodes, they don't really interest me, which I have hopes for today's episode, which I haven't seen yet. Because from the clips on YouTube that have been released, it looks like it's going to be a character episode for Robo Knight. Which, if you've never seen Power Rangers Megaforce, that's going to sound really confusing for you. Which I think will be really cool. But, anyways, although I really don't want to know how it ends, because apparently Robo Knight raps. And I think he's voiced by a white guy, and unless he's like Vanilla Ice or Eminem, it's not going to be good. But, yeah. Anyways, Thor 2, like I said, it's my favorite Marvel movie so far. My previous favorite being Thor. This movie goes by faster, and it's under 2 hours long. Most superhero movies nowadays, they have to be 3.5 hours long. Which, I don't know why I'm complaining, because I actually like all the long superhero movies. Dark Knight Rises is my second favorite Batman film. Iron Man 3, I really liked. I don't know where I'd put it on the scale of Iron Man, since it's been a while since I've seen the other two. Let's see, yeah. And, I like story. I like story and I like characters, and he just wants the action. I like story and characters. I explains my stories. Yeah. Hi, I'm DeweyFin21, and I'm a fanfic author. So, yeah, this has been an over hour-long review of Thor the Dark World, and I still have more to talk about, because I don't think I mentioned everything I called. If I did, I apologize, but I'm going to repeat it just because I have to say it, because he kept interrupting me. That was my brother, by the way. Anyways, so it was, let's see, I called that Loki would die. I called that Loki would be the one Thor called no on. I called that it would look like Loki died, but he's not actually dead. I called that, sometime after I called that it would be Loki Thor was crying out after, not Jane. Called that Loki would die but come back to life somehow, which I don't know if he actually did die, which that one's a maybe. But he's not. He looks like he's dead, but he's not dead. That's basically what I was going to do. I called that Jane and Thor would survive to the end of the movie. Granted, the shot in the trailer, which shown here, I didn't know. That's not in the movie anywhere. That shot is not in the movie. I thought it would be, but it wasn't. So, yeah. And, if you're wondering, yeah, Thor is my favorite superhero. That's why I have this shirt. It's the only superhero shirt I own. And, I really like the character moments, all that. There were some scenes in this that reminded me of the one Thor fanfic I've written, because I've only written one because I just needed something to get me by before The Dark World came out, which was weird because I published it a few months ago. But I just needed to get it out of my system, and a few of the lines in my fanfic the situations are sort of recreated in the movie, and I was like surprised because it's just all that like. Although Jane had a completely different reaction to going on the Bifrost than I did to her flying, because like in my fanfic she was afraid of heights, and so she hated Thor, like got that and got angry at her, and then like Thor was that, but like oh probably if you're watching it by now, you've probably already don't care, but the Tommy Wiseau hair, the Skrillex hair, all that type of stuff and thing. Yes, it's in the movie. Apparently once Loki learns that either Loki's been projecting a hologram of him the entire time, or as soon as Frigga dies, Loki just loses it. His hair goes crazy. There's scorch marks on his wall, which I guess he created fire or something like that. But yeah, that's where the Tommy Wiseau hair comes in. Like, and yes, the when do we start? That is with the Tommy Wiseau hair. It does come in that point. That's where it's used. That scene. Although the line, when you betray me, I will kill you, is not used. Basically the same thing is said. It's just like, I can't trust you. Betray me and I kill you. He basically says that. He doesn't say, when you betray me, I will kill you. He just says, betray me, I kill you. So, you know, that happened. And, yeah. And so, I'd really recommend this movie. I mean, really, really recommend. And the Loki transformation scene is probably my favorite one in the movie. I'm not like a Loki fanboy or anything. Like, I get that Loki's a well-written character, but I don't see the immense love for him. I'm more of a Thor fan myself, mostly because Thor is the Marvel hero with the most character development. I mean, like, Tony Stark, sure, he has his moments, like, you know, at the beginning of the first film, he was a womanizer, and then by the end, he only cares for Pepper. Like, Pepper's the only girl for him. But his basic personality is pretty much the same from the beginning of the first film to the ending of the third film. Doesn't really change all that much. Steve Rogers, the only change he gets is that he gets a super soldier serum and transported years into the future for him. For us, it was from the past to the present. And Bruce Banner, he's learned to embrace his anger. So, yeah, not much change, really, for anyone except Thor. Because at the beginning of Thor, he's reckless, over-ambitious, arrogant tool. That's basically what he is. And then, where he is now, he's righteous, helpful, not tool. Thor's gone through the most change, which really, you need to have Thor go through the most change because he's the only non-human on the team. You need to make him go through the most change so that the humans can identify with him. You turn the god human and you become more identifiable with the god. And I really like things like that. Like, when you show how the ultimate are really more relatable than you think, it creates better characters. And it shows you that you can do this type of stuff, which is why anytime I write a fanfic, whether it be Thor, Power Rangers, what's another fandom I've written for that has superpower people, I mostly focus on the human aspects of them. Mostly because it's hard to convey an action scene in words properly, at least for me it is. And it's more easy to just convey moments between people. And so, yeah. I've gone off on a tangent like I usually do when I do these solo reviews. But anyways, that was my experience with Thor 2. Like I said, I really, really recommend it, and, yeah. I'd say favorite Marvel film, second favorite would be Thor. I really have to say, Alan Taylor did a good job turning art into a world. In the first Thor, you could tell Kenneth Branagh, he's Shakespeare. Kenneth Branagh is a Shakespeare director. So it's huge sets, very little people, because, in Shakespeare's time, you can't have too many, because, Shakespeare writes plays, and you can't have many people on stage in a play. Well, you couldn't back in his time. Nowadays, Broadway plays have like 15 million people on stage at a time. At least I think so. I don't know. I've never actually seen a Broadway play. Closest I've gotten is the Star Kid plays, but they don't really have that big a cast ensemble thing. Yeah, so, but they can fit a lot of people on the stage. But anyways, Alan Taylor, Game of Thrones guy, he does a great job showing people in the background doing stuff not involving the main characters. It feels like Asgard is a world. Like, it feels like Asgard's a world, Earth is a world, because it's no longer in the middle of the New Mexico desert where there's nobody around. Kenneth Branagh works with areas that are secluded and nobody really needs to be around. Alan Taylor works better with areas where you can tell people have been here. Which, even though I say that, and yet the Dark World scenes, because all the Dark Elves except Malekith and his group are dead. So there's nobody in the Dark World except for Thor and Loki. And because Alan Taylor is so good at showing people being there, doing things without the main characters, transporting them to the Dark World where nothing happens except for the main characters, you really get a sense how barren the land is. And I think if Kenneth Branagh had come back to do it, you wouldn't get the same change in feeling that you would as it currently is. I mean, now, I can't really speak from experience, considering the closest thing I've come to directing an actual video is these types of vlog reviews, although I did do a Spanish project video that's probably going to go up on YouTube once I can fix the credits. Credits keep glitching out towards the end. I don't know why. I'm trying to fix it. But all this is happening, and it really all seems to work together. I mean, I've heard some people complain about how the comic relief cuts to Earth don't really add much. But, I don't mind the comic relief in this movie. They were funny for the most part. I don't think there was a joke that really fell flat. There were just jokes that's just like, oh, that was funny. And then there are jokes that, actually cause people to laugh. There are jokes where I didn't hear any groans, like from bad jokes or anything. Like, people laughed when they needed to laugh, but people laughed when things were funny. Not every time things were funny, but most of the time, some of the times, when things were funny, people laughed. I mean, and, it was, all in all, this is, a really great film, which I can understand. And so now, let's see, this is usually the part of the thing where people talk about trailers. So, let's see, what trailers? We got the Jack Ryan trailer. Well, I got the Jack Ryan since he's not here to talk about trailers. We got the Jack Ryan with the Chris Pine, which I made the joke, like, when it first showed up, the Paramount logo was going, and then it showed Chris Pine. I'm just like, wow, Star Trek 3's going retro, because it was, like, in the building. The guy had the gun. It was like that. Star Trek 3's going retro. But no, it's the Jack Ryan movie, with Kenneth Branagh playing the supposed villain, although the Kevin Costner, I think, is that who it was? Kevin Costner playing someone who is revealed to be a bad guy or something, like the trailer reveals he's a bad guy or something like that. I don't know if that was him. And I don't know if anyone's actually going to watch this to this point, but who was the girl? Who was the girl? Because in some shots, she looked like the actress who plays Simmons on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. In other shots, I couldn't tell. Was it just like does the actress who plays Simmons look like someone? Is it her? I have no idea. That's just what it reminded me of, because, from the director of Thor, because that's what it said on the Jack Ryan trailer, from the director of Thor, and I'm just like, Kenneth Branagh? He's directing this? This doesn't seem like something he would direct. Then I found out he's in it, I'm just like, oh, that makes sense. He's usually in the things he directs. So, yeah, and, let's see, what else was there? Days of Future Past, I got a trailer for Days of Future Past, the X-Men movie, which, I did not recognize the young X. I did not recognize young Xavier. At least when he was first there. At first I thought that was supposed to be young Wolverine, because, he had the beard and scraggy hair. But then he's in a wheelchair and he's like, that's Professor X? And then he says, you have to give me hope. And he's like, oh, that's the beard of despair and stuff. So the movie's going to be about Wolverine trying to convince Professor X to become Professor X again. And then towards the end, Professor X meets up with Professor X. So, I don't know. I liked the Wolverine. I liked X-Men First Class, since I've never seen Wolverine, X-Men Origins Wolverine, or X-Men 3, or X-Men, or most of X-Men 2. I've seen parts of X-Men 2. I've seen the first X-Men. I've seen X-Men, X-Men First Class, and the Wolverine. But I've never seen most of X-Men 2, X-Men 3, or X-Men Origins Wolverine. Which I hear X-Men 3 and X-Men Origins Wolverine are getting rewritten with this film, so I don't ever have to watch them. Probably will, but yeah. And then let's see. Another film. We got Catching Fire, because that's about to come out. I'm not a fan of the Hunger Games. The only thing I like about him is Josh Hutcherson is in it. And I think that anyone who's in a film called Firehouse Dog deserves to be famous. Firehouse Dog. That one. The greatest movie of all time. That's an in-joke. You won't understand it because you're not in on the joke. Anyways, what else did we get? I think we got more, we got like 15 trailers or something. It was amazing how many trailers we got. What else was there? Oh, Delivery Man, the Vince Vaughn movie where he's father of 533 kids. Which, when I first saw him, I was like, wait, why are all those kids in the same area? And then it's like, oh wait, no, it's a sperm bank, so of course, so most of the kids would be in that area because the mom's, because 9 times out of 10 a mom would move for something. So I'm just like, okay, that makes sense why all the kids are in the New York area, because once you're in New York, you usually stay in New York, unless you want to leave New York. It's Touchstone, meaning it's Disney, so could be good. I don't know. I don't really... The only Vince Vaughn movie that I've seen that I've liked is Dodgeball. But I've never actually seen many Vince Vaughn movies. I've seen Dodgeball, parts of Fred Claus, and I saw parts of him in Anchorman. I don't really actually think I've seen many I think Dodgeball is the only Vince Vaughn movie I've seen all the way through. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but that's the only one I can remember seeing him in. And it's a Vince Vaughn movie because Vince Vaughn's the main character. So, yeah. What else did we get? Trailers. I should have written them down, but that probably would have annoyed some people, because, you know. Oh, was the logo that Marvel used for this film used in Iron Man 3? Because I don't remember that. I don't remember that logo being there. I like the new logo. It looks cool. It looked cool. So, yeah. That sort of confused me, but, you know, what else is there? It's getting late. 'Cause we saw this at a 6:30 showing, which for being out for a week, it was surprisingly packed. I mean, I knew it would have some people there, but pretty much like every seat was filled, which is weird considering we saw it in 2D because I watched spoiler-free reviews of them. Like, I watched Projector by Film Brain, which he told me not to see it in 3D because the 3D wasn't worth it. So I went to go see it in 2D. So, yeah. And I'm guessing that the 3D wasn't worth it. I don't know. I didn't see it in 3D. I saw it in 2D. So, maybe that's why. It was the 2D showing which had cheaper tickets. Maybe that's why there were more people there. And it was 6:30 on a Saturday, so, you know, there's that. Yeah, other than that, I'm trying to think of trailers. I'm trying to see if there was anything I can remember. Anything else? Let's see. Delivery Man, Catching Fire, X-Men, The Fathom events. One's a wrestling, one's a play. Thought there was something else. It doesn't matter. Anyways, yeah. So, if you've managed to sit through this entire review, I commend you. And, this has been Robert Nance and, Comic Thor. See? Which, I really like this one because Thor has long hair in this movie. Oh, I probably could have been sitting here the whole time I've been talking, but it's a little far away from the camera. Anyways, yeah. So, Thor 2, go see it if you haven't already. If you have seen it and you liked it, go see it again. I can't afford any more tickets, so, yeah, I'm not going to be able to see it while it's in theaters. Well, I could next week, but, you know, I won't have time, because that's my main problem, is I barely have time. I was lucky to have this week free to go see it, and the original plan was to go see it with the guy who reviewed the other movies with me, like Monster University, Percy Jackson. I think those are the only two we reviewed so far. Wow. Huh. But like that guy, he was supposed to be with me, but he couldn't get off work, so yeah. And if once he goes to see it, I've told him to put a review on his channel, and it doesn't really matter because you'll see it whether or not. If you wanted to go see Thor, you've already seen it by now. If you didn't want to go see Thor, this review, my brother's opinion's probably not going to convince you to see it. Unless, of course, you agree with me that he's an idiot. Because, you know, he is an idiot. And, So, yeah. This is the longest review I've ever done. This is even longer than my 21 favorite song countdown. I think this might be my longest video I've ever made. Maybe. How long? I think I deleted the video that was longer than it, because it became outdated. Wow. We talked forever on this, and it's all HD, so... Oh, this is gonna take forever to render just so I can insert that picture in that one scene. Oh gosh. Oh, and I gotta add title cards in between the first part and... So, this review of Thor the Dark World will be released 5 months later after we filmed it.
I believe